Hello, little seasoners, and welcome back to the Third Advent YouTube channel. Please visit my YouTube channel profile and about page to find my Google Drive link so you can view and or download my free study book. On page 48 of the Third Advent study, we're going to be diving a little further into the Milky Way, which I believe is in the firmament. We live in an enclosed system. As the Bible and Genesis seem to indicate, a firmament is a ceiling or roof that we cannot escape from. Maybe similar to the dome-vaulted cathedral-type buildings we see is an architectural attempt to show us what we live in. One day we'll know. The right face of Jesus Christ is going to be decoded with the septenary cipher as well as the right eye. Previously we talked about investigating why it's not his full face or why it's not his left side or his left eye and this information seems to bring a point home of why we do get the right side and the right eye only. And I think you'll find this information quite eye-opening and letting us possibly know what year and what hour on the Gregorian calendar as well as our calendar, which is a 7,000-year timeline if you include 1,000 years, or a 6,000-year timeline if you do not include 1,000 years, spoken of in Revelation chapter 20. And it's mentioned 6 times. 1,000 years is mentioned 6 times. So 1,000 times 6 is 6,000. Verses 2 through 7, I believe, mentions it. The two images on page 48. The left image shows a rectangle which is trying to outline the right side of Jesus Christ's face. You can see the 952 going across it, 2 or 3 videos before we went into that, as well as a 591 above it. The image on the right of Jesus Christ in the Milky Way had the left eye added to it so you could get a better facial recognition model idea of what I'm trying to demonstrate for viewers and readers to grasp. And that is kind of like a little mask going over his eyes. And the left example, we just took right face. We put that into the septenary cipher and decoded it. And the word right turned out to be 30. Face turned out to be 15. Those two totals add together give you 45. The esoteric calculation for right face was done in this manner. I took the face 30 sum and times it times the Jubilee or the total gematria total 45. That gave me 1350. I took the face sum, which is 15, and multiplied it by 45, the gematria total, which gave me 675. And then I simply just added those two sums, 1350 and 675 together, which came to 2025. Wow, very interesting. So that's part one. So that's part one of right face. And the next slide, we'll get into part two of the right face. And the right example or picture shows right eye. And out of many things I could have typed in, right eye brought some information that I decided to go ahead and put in the study because how well it worked together and formulated the theoretical Gregorian timeline idea I'm trying to illustrate may be worthy of consideration. Right was 30 gematria total and I was 12. I took those two, the right eye of 30 and 12, add them together, got 42. And the esoteric calculation times 12 gives you 360. So as you can see in between the two images, I took the two sums that I came up with, 2025, and I subtracted them from each other. So 2025 minus the 360 from right eye, we get 1665. And I believe that's also the same year, 6640. If you include 1,000 years, if you exclude 1,000 years, we'll go to God's 6,000-year timeline and post the 7,000-year timeline. That's 5640, restarting back up. Time no longer theory comes from Revelation 10, verse 6, as well as 10, verse 7, where there's time no longer. And then the time starts up. And my theory is that happened during the millennial kingdom on the 7,000-year timeline. So when the 7,000 years ended, man's 6,000-year timeline unpaused and time back in and start counting the last 360 theoretical season years from Revelation 20, verse 3. A little digression there, but for those who aren't watching all the videos, that'll help you catch up. You really need to start from the beginning, or this will make no sense. And we took a few more steps with right eye. If you take the number 360 sum and you divide it by the gematria total of right eye, which is 30 plus 12, which gives you 42. So the 360 sum divided by decimal point 42 equals the 857.142. And what's remarkable is if you take the 6,000, your timeline, divided by a 7-year jubilee, you get 857 jubilees over a 6,000 timeline era. Those two numbers are identical, which gives theoretically strong proof that how 360 years fits into the 6,000-year timeline may be correct of what Revelation 20 verse 3's timeline is alluding to, and that's a 360-year period. On top of that, in earlier videos and in the book, I mentioned that when you decode season, you get, I believe it's 651, 621, and those six numbers multiplied out, 651, 621, come to 360. So there's a second possible confirming witness. Again, I don't know if I had those numbers correct, but double check me on the season decryption on the septenary cipher. Again, it bears repeating. I'm not trying to tell you that 2025 is the end of the world, and I know for sure a season from Revelation 20 verse 3 is 360 years. So please understand, and this is just cherry-picked information I brought forward, that maybe the reason we see the Messiah's face in the Milky Way and only his right eye and only the right side is decoded with the septenary cipher to reveal to us that maybe we should consider fourth season, or the little season is a period from 1665 on the Gregorian calendar through 2025. If you look at the year 2025 and you add it together, 20 and 25, 20 plus 25 gives you 45, which is 9. And you can't watch a movie or a show today without hearing 9, 7, or 11 shown or mentioned in a movie. I wonder why. Are we learning things? Is the Lord revealing things to us? Because we are at the end of the timeline, and there will be nothing hidden that will not be brought forth for us to know. Before we start page 49 of the Third Advent Study, which is part 2 of the right face and another additional breakdown of what that information could be telling us, I wanted to clear something up that when I re-listened to it sounded a little confusing. So an addendum here, and that is when I'm talking about Revelation 10 verse 6 through 7, and there's time no longer, what I mean by that is you have the two calendars, 6,000 and a 7,000 year timeline to go by. And I believe during the 6,000 year period, Revelation 10:6 had a time pause until the 1,000 years were over, and then time started back up. So 5640 plus 360 gives you 6,000. And in between 5640 and 360 was the 1,000-year reign. The 7,000-year timeline and how that would relate to this theoretical idea of Revelation 10:6 through 7 is the 5640 plus 1,000 years, so that make it 6640. And then the little season for Revelation 20 verse 3 gives you the 360. From 6640 to 360, you get 7,000 years. So I hope that's a little more clear and less obtuse on how I explain that. So my apologies there. Right face part 2. We just took the same numbers after they were decoded, 30 and 15 sums from right and face, as you can see below the picture. And the gematria total once again came to 45. And here is the esoteric calculation. So right was 30, face was 15. I put them both under a 120-year Jubilee cycle calculation. Right came to 3720, and face came to 20, which is 1290 if you esoterically shuffle it. And those two sums add together, 3720 and 1920, came to 5640. If this information, and if it is correct, which is probably not, but if it is correct, then the reason we might be getting the right face and the authentic septenary cipher is to help us rediscover our proper place and time to come out of this great deception we're under. Because maybe time no longer still exists until the very end. I can't say, but when you see this kind of repeat information and how you get the same years and jubilees on two types of calendars coming together like this in sync, it's quite remarkable. So I just used the 120-year jubilee cycle on 30 and 15, and we came to 5640 being unveiled to us. And on the right side, I just took the three advents of 59, so the first advent of 59, the second advent of 59, and the third advent of 59. Hence the name of the book, the third advent, which would be Revelation chapter 20, verse 11, the Great White Throne Judgment, just to remind viewers and listeners. That's the third advent, where 359 is at hand. Part 1 we saw on right face, we got a total of 2025. Part 2, we got 5640. Theoretical proof can be designed from these two sums. 2025 divided by decimal point 359, or the third advent of 59 Jesus Christ gematria total, equals 5640. Now, statistically, I don't know what the odds are. I'm not a statistician, but they might be divine, and this could be information that we need to really have peer review take over, men much smarter and educated than I am, and see what they think of some of this information, because it's quite coincidental. What are the odds? But doing this study for 5 years and seeing some of these things happen over and over again is maybe a little bit more shocking to the viewer who's just kind of looking at this information right now, trying to go, whatever, Pete. I don't blame you. But as it sinks in and you digest it and becomes more palatable, it's worthy of considering and investigating. What are your thoughts? I finally figured out how to turn the comment section on my YouTube video, so I apologize for that. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, that'd be great. I'd love to hear your comments and thoughts. I also have the email, as well as, you can go to my YouTube channel and download the link in the profile and about page. And once again, I just wanted to say I'm not trying to be some false teacher or whoa, the end of the world is in 2025 or 2026. I'm just bringing this information forth for us to consider, ponder, and talk about. There is a major awakening right now of people considering that the 1,000 years have been fulfilled. I have been sitting on this book for 6 years and waiting to release it for almost 2. So my time was come that I felt it was time to bring out what I thought might answer some of the questions. And we have a lot more things to get into, including the mud flood, pyramids, Masonic, the Jewish Hebrew calendar, which might be too hot for this channel, but we'll see how it goes. And God bless you and your families. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to hearing from you in many more videos to come.